they can see it now. Looks great.
Okay, perfect. Well, thanks, Mark, for inviting me. It was a bit short of this, but we're really happy to share a little bit here for Mobiliya Technologies. I'll give a bit of company intro, then explain what industries, use cases we focus on, a few customer success stories, a little bit of our own sort of platform investments, and then our shout out. So Mobiliya was recently acquired by Quest. We are a global design and engineering services company, so we're more of a system integrator and service provider. We generally don't have our own products. As a whole company, we're about 10,000 people strong across the world. Mobiliya is basically Quest's arms for digital transformation. So we are really specializing in cutting edge technology. Some of the key practices that we have, you see below there, things like deep learning, big data, IoT, and of course, augmented and virtual reality. And then we basically figure out how they can make the biggest impact to our customers. And that includes the consulting part, product management, UX design, content development. So we're not just doing the actual software development. I mentioned global presence. Really strong in US, Canada, Europe, and APAC. And basically, the industries we focus on, well, our parent company, Quest, they are very much in sort of, you could call them traditional industries like aero, medical, oil and gas, power, transportation. So they have customers, you know, like BMW, Rolls-Royce, Pratt & Whitney, GE. And some of them also are applicable for Mobiliya, but we are a little bit more sort of in the high-tech areas. So I'll give you a few examples here. You know, some of our Mobiliya customers with really large presences include, like, for example, HP, Microsoft, Google, NVIDIA, you know, you name it, basically across anything from more industrial to sort of the tech companies. Generally, we go with larger companies, and we focus very much on the enterprise side. So enough of a plug on the company, and now a little bit on sort of the use cases. So in terms of AR, we are very much focused again on the enterprise side. For example, in healthcare, it's about productivity of field service technicians and medical staff. In energy, it's about that as well, but about interaction with heavy machinery. So there's where IoT comes into place as well. In telecom, it's very much also about field services. And then, sorry, I'm just moving a window here. In manufacturing, it's basically like Industry 4.0, making manufacturing more efficient and also enabling training in environments where you cannot really play with the actual machinery. There are some consumer use cases, but mostly we see that enterprises really can find use cases with a high ROI, which we focus on. I believe this will be sounding familiar to all the area members. For example, things related to either field services or manufacturing, where you have equipment setup, installation, maintenance, troubleshooting. The use cases are basically step-by-step guidance, remote assistance, task checklisting and reporting, and then often other non-AR related use cases that just go hand in hand. So a lot of field service tools there. And it's about really increasing efficiency, reducing travel time, reducing mistakes and stuff like that as KPIs. Then related to this immersive training, that's more of a VR side, but could be AR as well, or it could be simply not really having VR, but consuming the same information that you would normally consume using AR, but now with having 3D simulation. So for example, if you're a clinician that works shifts and it's really difficult to go to classes, having all of this on your mobile and being able to learn anytime, anywhere is really important for them. So I'll go through some specific customer success stories here. So let's take one example out of the healthcare area. So imagine there's a lot of equipment out there that is fairly complex. There's different models, different configurations, and you have different roles or different users that would interact with it. So you would have biomed engineers and technicians, both from a hospital side as well as sometimes from a provider side. You have nurses, clinicians, and you have the provider service personnel. And normally they need to know a lot of procedures. These things could get complex. Sometimes manuals are really complex, and configurations vary from case to case. So what we have been offering is basically in AR-enabled tools that help with all these procedures, with step-by-step guidance, with access to the manuals in a soft fashion, and troubleshooting, in some cases also remote assist. So it's about reducing installation time or troubleshooting time, reducing errors or mistakes made, and increasing equipment uptime. In telecom field service, a similar kind of a situation. So imagine you have field service deskless knowledge workers that have to configure fairly complex base stations, and they have lots of elements, right? You see the antennas up there. Below them, you have like containers with lots of switch boxes and cards and cabling and so on. And some of these experts, they command a pretty high cost, high salary, and it is often involving multiple players, an operator, a service provider, subcontractors, and so on. So it's about enabling them to perform these cases in an efficient way. And so we have basically using our AR360 platform provide them with remote assistance. In the picture below there, you see a screenshot of what you might see on a mobile device. And by the way, we see still the mobile device is more prevalent over glasses, but a lot of them are experimenting with hands-free because this is really needed here. And then above there, you see a screenshot for our AR360 content portal, where you encode all this knowledge as an expert user, and you are basically you're able to use well, obviously markers and diagrams and so on, and then create these step-by-step instructions that will then be available to the user in the field. Another example here is in manufacturing, basically training. Imagine some of these machines are very large. Some of them are 50 meters long, and there's a lot of complex processes that workers need to know. So we use various either VR or mixed reality solutions to assist with training. I believe the last example here is what I mentioned about oil and gas. Imagine you're out there, you're using a welding robot or very heavy machinery that is also a little bit difficult and complicated to interact with. So in this case, we built a solution using a wearable headset that has also excellent voice enablement, plus a IoT integration with the machinery, so we can take readings from the machinery and we can actually control the machinery. So imagine as an operator, you can use voice commands, to basically read out status or move the welding head there. So it's all about making this more convenient, giving you hands-free operation, and making this more efficient for these operators. A few words, you saw a bit of screenshot there on our AR360 platform. I mentioned that we really don't create our own products, but this is only half true. So we often invest in our own accelerator platforms that take elements of best-in-class elements from the industry, from technology providers, as well as our own development, so that we can enable our customers to get to market more efficiently and faster. And so AR360 is our accelerator platform. It's about the content management and creating and capturing all the enterprise knowledge, and then consuming it on a mobile or a wearable. So you basically see a cloud solution and the device solution, and it has all the various functions that you might imagine, from enterprise sign up, workflow management, content management, uh, recognition, either on the device or also with cloud-based recognition. And so you create a project, you add media, you create your workflow steps. You can then preview this either on your web interface or on a mobile, and you can also publish it to test groups and test users. So before you roll it out to all the field users, you're confident about it, and then you can publish this without updating any software on the mobile side. Value props for content editors is just, often they are also the people that support field users. They get a lot of calls, they have to remotely assist and so on. So they want a really efficient way to capture the knowledge and disseminate it to end users. And value props is they want to be confident and empowered. They don't want to be necessarily kind of remote controlled like a puppet that will be told what to do. They want to have some freedom, but they also want at the touch of their fingertips in a very contextual way and a convenient way using AR overlays, those step-by-step instructions, the reference materials, the expert user remote help, or the training for the same before they go to a site to have access to the same information, but in a training context. Our process to interact with customers basically goes through the whole thing from planning, proof of concept, the content development. So we do a lot of the content development ourselves, converting what content might exist, and also capture best practices in these enterprises, capture standard operating procedures and so on, and we digitize them up to really high-end animation, 3D to 2D in other content, and then we integrate and we deploy and help customers really roll out and monitor a deployment. All right, so almost done here. Basically, how would Mobiliya like to interact with the area community? But definitely happy to be a partner with the community as a system integrator. If you have products, platforms, technologies that you feel could be valuable to Mobiliya's or Quest's clients, we're always interested in integrating them. So even though we often have slight preferences in terms of technology platform, and we have ready-made pre-integrations, for example, we are Premier ISV, a partner with Euphoria, but we have worked with many of other alternatives, and we always monitor what is available on the market. So if you have something that could be interesting to us, feel free to contact me. We are also technology agnostic. That's kind of goes hand in hand there. As a services provider, if you have a point solution, but you need somebody that creates an end-to-end integration for customers and that needs that global presence that we have, we can help you perhaps with your customer projects. So as I mentioned, we do content development, we do consulting, user interface design, customization of software. So all of this could be valuable to experts in the community that focus more on that new technology innovation. And finally, we are multidisciplinary. I mentioned we do IoT, we do deep learning, big data, and so on. So if you see use cases that combine those areas, that might be very interesting for us as well. We'd be interested in working with you or hearing from you. All right, Mark, you challenged me that I could do 30-something slides in hopefully 10, 15 minutes. So that was my presentation.
Did amazingly well. Thank you, Thomas. Right. Thank you. Very interesting indeed. Let's open it up to the audience. Any questions for Thomas? I'm sure there are.
This is Joachim. Thank you for a great presentation. I wonder, are there any specific geographical markets that you target for your AR solutions, or are you global?
So in essence, we are global, but when we were still Mobiliya, before we were acquired in January this year by Quest, our number one market was really North America, number two APAC, and we had, let's say, more limited Europe presence. We were actually in the process of increasing our presence in Europe. Now with Quest, that is not so much the case. So in fact, I'm spending a lot of time now also myself with the Europe team, with the teams around BMW, Rolls-Royce, Siemens, and so on in Germany, UK, Spain, and so on. So I would say we are now very balanced, and we have like a very heavy presence in all of these markets. So very global now.
Okay, thank you. I actually have one more question. So that's related to your experience from different kind of AR glasses. Are there any glasses that you have worked more with, or is it like a blend of glasses, if you like, in your projects?
So we've tried quite a few. I mean, not like upwards of 50, but we've tried different ones. From Epson, we are a partner with RealWear as well. Well, we're a premier partner with Microsoft. Look, we have a lot of Microsoft projects, so it's not really AR, but let's say MR. We have worked with HoloLens. We've done. I mean, like basically we've tried all the sort of market leaders or technology leaders to some degree. It is. I would say there's a lot of rapid progress. And often our clients ask us what to recommend, and we basically say, well, that is an answer that has to be found for each client. There is still a very heavy trade-off to be made in terms of the user experience, the long-term wearability, the ruggedness in real industrial environments, and so on. So I'm actually, so we keep evaluating what works the best, and we would love to actually have sort of a preferred set of 2-3 partners that we really focus on. But at the moment, I think we're kind of a little bit open and hedging our bets there.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions? Thomas, I've got a real quick one. Do you think you'll be keeping the Mobiliya brand, or will you be rebranding to Quest?
For the time being, yes, but that's something I think that's too early. I think over a period of a year, we'll definitely have a very tight integration with Quest. So I mean, generally we call ourselves now Mobiliya Quest or Quest Mobiliya. Okay. So I would expect gradually a stronger integration with the brand as well.